Friends, let's talk today about writing. When we have a writing assignment, a lot of us have said that the most difficult part is even just getting our ideas started. So let's take a look at this writing prompt together that's on the screen. And I want you guys to go with me as I work through how we would break this down in order to best answer the questions and get our ideas across. I don't know about you, but the first thing that stands out to me in this prompt is that I have 3 question marks. What does that tell me about how I'm going to have to answer this question? Or how much I'm going to have to answer with this question? What does that tell me? Yeah, it tells me that I'm going to have to answer a total of 3 questions. So I'm not going to be answering 1 question. I'm going to be answering 3 questions in 1 response. I'm going to highlight each one of these in a different color. That way, as I start to look at my answer, I can come up with the different ideas and start to answer each part. Then at the end, I'm going to use the questions to make sure that I've included everything I need to in my answer. What is the first question that we have in this writing prompt or this writing activity? Right. It is, what is your most difficult subject in school? That is the first one. It's ending in a question mark. And so that's going to be the first part of the prompt or writing that I'm going to answer. I'm going to change the color. And I want you guys to tell me, what is the next part? What is the second thing I'm going to be answering in this writing prompt? Right. Why is it difficult? How about the last part? I'm going to make this one blue. What is the last part that I'm going to be answering in my response to this writing prompt or this writing question? Yes. What can you do to get better? So again, in this writing prompt, I don't have 1 thing I'm answering. I don't have 2. I have a total of 3. So as I go down and I answer, I'm going to put my answers in boxes. This is how it helps me to be able to outline things. Rather than rewriting each one of the questions, I'm just going to make a box with each one of the colors. And then any ideas that I have, I'm going to put in that color-coded box. The first question asks me, what is my most difficult subject? The first thing I want to do is start to get my ideas out of my head so that I can organize them. And that's really what we're going to focus on for this part. We're not going to answer these questions today. We're going to start to look at, what would I need to include? How do I start to think about these questions? So what is my most difficult subject in school? What are some words in this particular sentence that tell me how I need to answer it? What words stand out to you as the most important in this question? The words that stand out most to me are difficult, subject, and school. So what does this question want me to do? It wants me to talk about something that is difficult, and a subject. Maybe not even the word school. We don't really have other topics in our life that have subjects, right? It's typically just in school. So I would be looking at a difficult subject. How about the next one? What is the key word in this one that would make us that we would need to answer in our response? I'll give you a hint. There's only one word in here that tells us what we need to respond to or how to respond. Good. It's that word why. And the last question, what stands out or what is important about that last question that we're going to have to answer as we go through? I would say that in here, it's the idea of getting better. So if I'm starting to look at this prompt and pull it apart in order to better answer it, I would want to look at my difficult subject, why, and getting better. We took out all those non-essential words to break it down to the most important part. When we talk about a difficult subject, what are we looking at? Can you list some of the subjects you have in school? Go ahead and do that. List the class subjects or the big topics you have in school this year. We would all include something like math, English, science, social studies. Maybe you are taking a foreign language or sign language, health class. We want to look at which one of those is the most difficult. So I want you to think about that for yourself. What is the most difficult class? I think this second question of why is even more difficult. Sometimes that reason is in our head. Like we have a block that we put up. I have that with math sometimes. I really have that with science. We have a block that we put up that keeps us from explaining or really understanding what's happening. Maybe it's we don't like the topic that we're covering. So this is where we would start to think about really why? Why is it difficult? You may not know. I don't know why it's difficult for me. Sometimes that question of why requires that we be honest with ourselves. I really don't like science. I have to be honest with myself. I have a difficult time in it because I don't really like it. So it makes it more difficult for me. The last part of this looks at the idea of getting better or improving. This is something where we really have to look at how we are, how we're struggling and think about why it's difficult in order to pull in a new reason or pull in something that we can do to get better at it. We may have to be honest that I don't like science. So for me to get better at it, I have to put in more effort. Maybe it is that you have to reach out to your teachers. And it's okay to say that you're not sure whenever you're answering a question. about what you can do differently or what you can do to get better, it's okay to say that you're not sure, but things that maybe you can try. But if you pull apart these three questions, it's easier, number one. And number two, it helps us to really take a look at all the information and not miss something. When the questions are all lumped together, sometimes we can miss what the point of the question really is. Okay. Also, when you're looking at this, you will see that the prompt itself doesn't tell you how much to answer. It's not telling you to write 5 sentences or 3 sentences. So how do you know how much information to give? A good rule of thumb would be, if it doesn't tell you, to try to give at least 1 sentence per question. Now you may say, Mrs. Ford, I can answer that by saying my most difficult subject and why in the same sentence. And that's okay too. The prompt did not tell us how much we had to give for our answer. But a good rule of thumb is to always try to give 1 sentence per question. My most difficult subject is blank. It's tough because, and I can get better at it by. Okay, but this is really just pulling apart the question. And the next time we meet, or the next time that you guys see a video come out to you, we're going to take this question and build from what we have right here and talk about how we answer those questions and how we write them in a complete sentence. So ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this helped you to kind of see how to pull apart those questions when there's more than one in a writing prompt or in an assignment, and how to spread those out in order to make sure that you're answering all 3 and you're coming up with ideas for all 3. I will see you guys again soon to go over how to answer these questions. But until next time, see you later.